Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. It is officially spring, so I decided to do a very fun springtime page, Bible journaling page. I'm doing it a little bit differently than what I normally do, and I'm actually going to draw out a design first with a pen, and then I'm going to color that in with watercolor. It's a really simple way of doing Bible journaling and you don't have to worry about painting first. You just kind of use it like a coloring page type of thing. So I am freehanding my little watering can, and then I'm going to freehand some flowers as well. But I do have a little free printable for you if you'd like to check it out. It's basically the design that's on this page as a line drawing so that you can print it out and trace it. And that way, if you don't feel comfortable freehanding your own design, you can definitely pop on over to the blog post that goes along with this video at scribblinggrace.com/wateredgarden, and you can download that printable for free with no signups necessary. I will also put that link to the blog post in the description below. That blog post will also have links to all of the supplies that I'm using, as always. So I took a pencil and freehanded my watering can, and now I'm just adding in some random little doodled flowers. These are the same type of flowers that I would doodle in high school and in school. They're really just kind of pretty simple shaped flowers. And I'm just directly using my pen here. This is the Tombow Funosuke. It's the dual tip, so it has one side that's gray in color and one side that's black, but they both are the same tips as the normal Funosuke brush pens. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I adore these brush pens. I use them in almost every single one of my pages that I do. And I'm basically just going to keep doodling. You can see the brush pen, when you apply pressure, it creates a thicker line, and when you apply a little pressure, you get a really nice thin line. So you can see the variation of the line widths in my little drawing here. If that's something you don't like, you definitely could use a different pen, like a micron pen. But I thought it kind of gave a really cool little whimsical look to have the different widths of the lines in my drawing. So the great thing about the Tombow Funosuke or the micron pens is that they're waterproof. So I'm able to use watercolor on top of these without it smearing or bleeding or anything like that. I will also say though that I do not prep my pages. And so if you do prep your page with gesso beforehand, you might get some of that smearing with these pens. So just be careful with that. The gesso kind of makes materials act kind of weird on top of it. So that is why I don't ever prep my pages. And I don't get any bleed through with the watercolors that I'm using, with the Funosuke brush pens or micron pens. I've never had any bleed through issues. So that's just something to keep in mind. So basically I drew out my design, and now I'm just going ahead and using it kind of like a coloring page, but with watercolors. So I just took a small round paintbrush. This is the size 8. It's just some cheapo brush from a pack from Walmart. And I'm just taking various colors from my Kuretake Gansei Tambi watercolor set, the one I use all the time, and I'm just coloring in those lines. Really simple and really fun, and just a great way to celebrate spring and joy and newness. So that is why I'm sharing this video with you today. So I'm just going to keep on coloring this in. You definitely could totally use other supplies such as colored pencils. If you're not into watercolors, you can use whatever is your favorite medium of choice for this. And if you don't like the look of the dark lines, you could definitely use like the traceable and put it underneath the page you're working on and use that as your guide instead of actually drawing the lines onto the page. It's something similar to what I did for the watercolor guitar tutorial. If you're not sure what I mean when I'm talking about using the printable, be sure to check out that watercolor guitar tutorial. It also has that free printable to use, and I don't trace it onto the page exactly. So again, there's so many fun things that you can do with this type of technique. You can use all types of things, different pens. You can do the watercolor first and then add the lines if you'd like. I would encourage you to be creative with it. I would recommend to make sure that you're using a pen that is waterproof. So again, the Tombow Funosuke's or the Micron pens, which that way you can use watercolor if you're using watercolor. Yeah, so I also want to point out that I am using my interleaved Bible here, which has the full blank page to work on. But if you don't have an interleaved Bible, you could totally make a tip-in out of the free printable, or you can do this on a separate sheet of paper and make a tip-in out of it. Or you can, just do this in a normal 2-inch margin Bible, try to scale it down, be creative with it, and have fun. So I just added a little bit of grass, so I just painted the background in between all the flowers with green, and then I'm just using the tip of my paintbrush to swipe upward and create a look of that grass at the very bottom of my page. Really simple type of coloring here. There's no real technique to adding the watercolor, which is always one of my favorite things, where it's not a very technique heavy page to do. You really can just apply the watercolor in any way that you like. One of the beauties of watercolor is that no matter how you apply it almost always, 99.99% of the time, will look amazing anyways. So I'm just filling in my background here. Again, still just using that small round paintbrush to fill in all the little gaps in between the flowers. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my lettering. So I'm going to keep using the Tombow Funosuke brush pen that I was using earlier to draw my design. And I am going to write out, "You shall be like a watered garden," because the verse I'm working on is Isaiah verse 58:11, which says, "And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail." So I just love that verse, and I feel like it's a great one for springtime. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have tutorials on lettering. I have these brush pen calligraphy tutorials. This one I would say is similar to the bounce lettering tutorial that I did. And all those fun links to all the tutorials that will help you create this page or something similar, all the supplies, the free printable that you can download, all that stuff will all be linked in the blog post that goes along with this video at scribblinggrace.com/wateredgarden, and that'll be linked in the description below. So that's it for my page. It was such a fun one and such a simple one, and I hope that it inspires you to create something of your own. And yeah, so I forgot to show you the back side of the page, but just take my word for it. There is no bleed through with the supplies that I use. So that's it. I hope that you have a wonderful day. God bless.